Well, good morning. Here it is. It's Wednesday. That means it's hump day. We've reached the middle of another week. And today, of course, is March the 12th. And I hope you had a great Tuesday. I hope that you had a productive day. Hope it was a day that you were able to, get done what maybe you set out to do. And it was a beautiful day, pretty weather and everything. But now God has blessed us with the breath to breathe, here on this Wednesday morning, and I certainly hope and pray that this morning finds you feeling well. Hope that you're well rested and ready to tackle the opportunities that God has richly blessed us with here on this Wednesday morning. This morning, I'd like to share a devotional with you entitled "The First Promise of a Savior." In Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, it says, "And I will cause hostility between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He will strike your head, and you will strike his heel." Now, the first promise of a Savior came almost immediately after, the need for one was created. God, He designed a paradise for the first two humans. The Garden of Eden supplied, every need. Tending the garden gave them, a sense of purpose and fulfillment. The perfect harmony of nature within the garden surely gave them a sense of emotional well-being. And God, Himself walked in the garden in the cool of the evening. The Scriptures tell us, because they spent so much time, in God's presence. I think it's probably safe to assume that, that their every spiritual need was met. Everything in the garden was available to Adam and Eve except the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They were forbidden to eat it. God, warned that, if they disobeyed His one rule, the punishment would be death. But one creature in the garden, cared little about God's rule. The serpent convinced Eve to, eat fruit of the forbidden tree. And then she in turn gave some to Adam, who ate it as well. When they realized, what they had done, they hid. They hid because, they realized that, excuse me, they realized that they were, naked, and because they were afraid of God's punishment for their sin. Of course, nothing is hidden from God, as we all know. Adam blamed Eve for their sin, and Eve, she blamed the serpent. God revealed to each of them, the consequences of their actions. His judgment on the serpent is found in the passage that we read to begin with in Genesis 3:15. In it, we find, what some Bible scholars call the proto-evangelium, the first reference to God's plan of salvation and redemption. The woman's offspring is Jesus. He would do what Adam and Eve, couldn't do, live a sinless life. God didn't kill Adam and Eve, but He also didn't waive, the punishment of death. The punishment would fall to their sinless, offspring. He will strike your head, refers to Christ's ultimate victory over the serpent and his offspring. The Apostle Paul, he wrote, in Colossians chapter 2, verse 15, "In this way, he disarmed the spiritual rulers and authorities. He shamed them publicly by His victory over them on the cross." And that ties into the final phrase of Genesis 3:15, "And you will strike his heel." Excuse me. See, Christ's ultimate victory would come at a cost. The shedding of sacrificial blood would be necessary. Genesis 3:7 says Adam and Eve, they sewed fig leaves together, in order to cover their nakedness, and in a sense, to cover their sin. But look what God does in verse 21 then. He says, "And the Lord God gave clothing from animal skins for Adam and his wife." You see, an animal had to be sacrificed to cover them, in their sin. In Hebrews 9:22 it says, without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness. In the 3rd chapter of Genesis, we find the first promise of Jesus, the Savior, who would shed his innocent blood to provide forgiveness and salvation to everyone who believes in him. See, what's more, our ancient enemy was soundly defeated at the cross. There he lost his stranglehold on the life of the human race. As a Christian, you have been set free by the power of Jesus Christ. That's the one thing we can depend on in this world is Jesus Christ. He went to the cross for us. He paid the price for each one of us. And I'll leave you with this question to reflect on today. What does God's original plan, as well as his response to Adam and Eve's disobedience, reveal about him? I hope you have a wonderful day. And remember, Angie and I, we love you guys, and we're praying for you. And Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow morning. God bless you.